Hey everyone, welcome back to another daily crypto update. I'm your host Jitsuko Toshiro, and let's go ahead and get started. So let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart. Take a look here. So I did mention that we are range bound here, and this is the range at the $17,000 mark all the way down to the 16,300, and we are basically just consolidating in here. Now the question is whether or not we are going to move up higher or lower. Now remember, we do have a major area of resistance here at the 18,500 level, and then we also have this major area of resistance at the 15,500. Let's go ahead and take a zoom out. There's one thing I'd like to point out in this downslope trend that we have here. So if you look at the daily, we are testing to break out of it. And this is a real question of, is this a true breakout or is it a fake out? We're attempting it right now as we speak. We could see some potential upside if this daily candle holds, but it's just a matter of time of whether or not it can do it. So you can probably see something like this and we'll wick down. So we are reaching a major area of resistance, and there's two reasons why. Number one is we have this horizontal resistance, and number two, we have this diagonal resistance. So be cautious of that. Just be aware of it. One other thing I'd like to point out on the macro scale is if you zoom out and draw another trend line here, we do have a potential for a move higher. So let's take a look here. So if this is a true breakout, then look at this confluence. You can probably retest this here and then come up and test these highs again. Now, it's just a matter of time of whether or not this will happen and whether or not it will hold, right? So do I think we're going to make new all-time highs and the bottom is in? No, but there is a possibility that we do range higher. It's just a question of whether or not we do. Now, one other thing I'd like to point out on the Bitcoin chart is, I mentioned this in a previous video, but these rounding bottoms, you got to keep your eyes on them because they are a good indicator within themselves. These candles is a good indicator of we might move higher. One thing that can play for the downside, however, is that we're making what's called an M pattern, and if this resistance does hold and we come back down to these lows, then I can see it's breaking down this support. So let's just see what happens. Give this some time. And remember, I said I would not play this range. I would not trade it. It's a 50-50 shot to the upside or downside. So let's just go ahead and wait. Now, let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum actually flipped its little local resistance and has become a little more bullish. And if you draw a trend line the same way we did for Bitcoin, you can see that it actually broke out of its trend line 2 days ago, and it's holding well. The thing with Ethereum, however, it tends to follow Bitcoin. So if this is a true breakout, if Bitcoin breaks down, then you can probably safely assume that Ethereum will as well. Another thing I'd like to point out with Ethereum is so if this daily candle closes above this 1250 mark, 1240 mark, that is a bullish sign, and we could have a potential upside all the way up to the 1350 mark. And then that would probably be a good area to short. Let's take a look at my active trade, which is BNB. BNB is at crossroads here. So what is that? What do I mean by that? If you look at so we're on the daily chart, you can take a look here at BNB. We had this old area of support that held really well, had a swing up to the $400 mark, and then we came back down and crashed below it. Right now, BNB is retesting this area of resistance. As you can see here, we broke out of this little mini range I was talking about, which I thought was a really weak area of resistance. And these are things you just have to wait and see. So I had mentioned that I entered the BNB short way too early, and I said that this is not an example of how to trade, and the reason being is because you don't trade news, you trade price action and structure and technical analysis. Let's take a look at the big picture here for BNB. As you can see here, we have a huge descending triangle. Now, there are two areas that I would love to ideally get into a short. This $250 range that I mentioned to my previous followers is a good area just because we have this resistance here. And then another area, if we do break to the upside, this is a good area to short as well, this trend line. I think eventually we will break down. It's just a question of when and how. The logical thing to do is short resistance, which we did here. But then if we do break up to the upside, there's another area to get into a short, and then maybe we'll see the follow through all the way down to the $46 mark. Let's take a look at Solana, which is a new token that I'm talking about on this channel. The reason why I'm talking about it is because what you can see here on my macro chart, I already played around with it, is a huge head and shoulders. So you can see the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. And finally, we got a follow through back in November all the way down to the $12 mark. Now, I think that this move to the upside has a lot to do with this thing called bonk. It's kind of an arbitrary line. I'm trying to figure out how and why it found support here. I mean, it's a good area of support. It's the $7 mark. It was a retest to move higher, but I think that we do have a free fall all the way to the $4 mark, and we're just in the middle of a free fall. If you look at the daily time frame, we had a huge doji candle here, which isn't technically a good bottom indicator. And so I think that this retest of this resistance is actually going to send it lower. So I entered a short on Solana. I have a stop loss set above this $15 mark. And it's just a matter of time of whether or not we can decide if Solana can hold this area of resistance and break to the upside or the downside. Now let's take a look at the upside target. If we do break out of it, the upside potential is all the way up maybe to this $27 mark. However, this has been the area of resistance, and as you can see here, the resistance is getting lower. So it's a good opportunity to short if you wanted to short this, because you are reaching resistance. I would not recommend longing it. If you do want to long Solana, you long the support. Okay, so Solana looks good in the sense that it can have a potential bullish move to the $27 mark. However, this isn't the area to get in. You want to get in at support, which is here at the $10 mark or even lower at the $7 mark. If you want to short it, this is a good area to short. We're in resistance right now. Now, the last token I'd like to talk about isn't a token. It's the dollar index, the dollar strength index. Take a look here. This is the falling wedge that I've been talking about for the past few days, and we finally got the breakout on the dollar. Now, the dollar index is a clear, this is a clear sign of a breakout. We retested, came up, retested, came up. This looks like the dollar is moving bullish. So you have to be wary. So these moves to the upside can be destroyed within minutes because the dollar is moving up. So this is a bullish structure. I do see us at least getting to the 109 area. And let's take a look at the 109. So yeah, I could see us getting up to the 109 area. What does this mean for other assets? Well, this means that they might get crushed, unfortunately. So you have to be patient. If you look at the RSI finally broke out. I have some other indicators that are confirming a breakout. So just be wary and understand that if you do want to go into longs in any of these tokens, they are reaching major resistance, and the dollar finally found support, and it's probably going to move higher. Like for example, Solana had a huge move to the upside, right? But we're finally reaching resistance again. It's not logical to long here because we are actually meeting an area of resistance, and it's in confluence with my information that I'm getting from the dollar, right? So the dollar is in an area of support. So if you are feeling bullish about the market, just be patient because now is the time where we're at crossroads. So you just have to be patient with these things. And remember, ultimately, Bitcoin really rules where these alts are going to go. And I said that we were range bound. We are not breaking it. So sorry, I'm going back and forth. But Bitcoin is king in the sense that we will, on whether or not we'll move up or down in alts. There's a lot of action that's happening. Alts are moving up. However, Bitcoin is basically range bound and not making any new highs. So you have to understand that, hey, there might be a potential for this thing to reverse and come to the downside. And I just want you guys to be aware of that. So don't long resistance. Just long the supports that you can find or short the resistances that you can find. Just be patient. Other than that, stay safe trading, risk management, set stop losses. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let me go ahead and give you guys my plug. It's at Jitsuko Toshiro right here. I'm currently at 35 subscribers. If I do get a chance to go, this looks funny, but if I do get a chance to get to 100 subscribers, I am doing a giveaway for the first 100 that subscribe. And if you haven't already, please follow me on Twitter. I have the same tag. And yeah, that's about it. I do upload directly to Twitter Blue, and I directly upload to YouTube. So wherever you like to watch my content, just let me know which one you prefer. Other than that, you guys stay safe trading and good luck. Thank you.